Hi, this is Veronica. So, what's in your news today? People in Barbados are still hoping that this waiting game is going to be over pretty soon because there's no word yet on whether price compact will be extended. They're saying that 44 food items are still covered under that particular program and it may be extended for 6 months. But I'm here to tell you that 6 months goes by very, very quickly, especially when you're cash in hell. 6 months is nothing. You should have this covered into perpetuity. There should be items that you can buy, that you can afford for the duration of your life. So work on that. And then there's Do Good. He is showing how you can beat traffic by having these particular bikes, e-bikes. I think it's a really good idea. I think that if the sun is hot there and it rains intermittently, so that could be a problem. But if you can envision a better future, I think that if you can, because even here in the United States, those bikes are very expensive. So, but if you can afford to buy the electronic bike and take you here and there, Barbados is not that big. I know you think it's big because you live there, but it's not that big. If you can do it, I think it's something you should sit and talk to your husband or your significant other or your family. Just talk to them about maybe having one less car and having maybe 2 e-bikes in the garage or wherever. But I think it's a very, very good idea for people who are concerned about the environment. Now there's this integrity bill and blind trusts. You can only talk about a blind trust if you have billions of dollars and you do have people that you can trust. That is not a situation that exists in Barbados. It does not exist in Barbados. You cannot be poor. You cannot be cash in hell and talking about blind trust. That money is going to be gone in no time. You heard about what happened to Usain Bolt, right? You heard about all his money as soon as it went in, it was gone. And that wasn't a blind trust. He had managers, business managers, people who were supposed to keep an eye on things, and that money was gone. You heard about Christgau, didn't you? Your money was in there for when you got old and when you needed that money was gone. There's no blind trust that you can extend in Barbados. You heard about what happened. I'm sure you heard, because I talk about it all the time, about what happened to me. It was no blind trust. This guy came up to me and told me he was an architect and he needed to borrow money. And then after he had the money, he told me he wasn't an architect and he just left the country and came back. And Bajans believe anything he says. He says one thing about Bajans: when you give them a good story, they believe you. And in the meanwhile, I'm out $20,000. That wasn't blind trust. I wanted my money back. I still want my money back from Mark, okay? The fake architect, the guy who told me he was an architect, and then after he got the money, he wasn't an architect. All these fraudsters. So blind trust and Barbados, it does not, and it should not sit well with you, but I'm sure it will go through because that's what happens there. It is what happens there, but you are not rich enough. You are not a rich enough nation to be talking about no blind trust, okay? It's Veronica.